Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new edition of the Nova Express. I'm really happy to have Ash here today as a guest. Ash is the marketing lead at Theoric, which is a coordination layer for AI agent swarms. And I'm really excited about having him and speaking about like the future of the intersection of AI and crypto. So thank you so much for being here, Ash. How are you? How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me, Sebas. Well, excited to be here. Excited to share some insights into, what's happening right now in the market. Obviously, it's a very exciting time for the AI agent space because we've just come off, a very like raging bull phase, so to say. And I think right now we're in the cool down period, but builders keep building, and we've lined up a lot of interesting stuff on the Theoric side of things, and just even this month we already announced a couple of new items on our end, and I would love to share more about this further into the conversation. So yeah.
Awesome. So we'll tap into everything Theoric in just a bit, but before we run into that, you mentioned the market. The market's being like pretty tough, specifically for the people who are like me in the trenches, and for the whole industry, I think. So you mentioned like there's like kind of a reset, right, happening. So like, what's your view on like this like kind of like bull run we had with meme coins and the intersection with AI as well, and where we are standing today after like all the events like last week with Libra and everything? What are your thoughts around that?
So, first of all, like it's a complete speculation just based on my experience in the space. So I started in 2017, and this is my third cycle. And I would say that it was clear from the beginning that this is going to be a different one. And so far, it clearly follows the scenario that I personally was kind of expecting, not maybe to that same, to the same magnitude, but the pattern is following. So first of all, we should start thinking about the place in the cycle with figuring out like where did this cycle start. And from what I'm seeing, we've been in the bull since October 2023. So we had the first AI summer
since October 2023, so 1 year, so 1 year and a half.
Yeah, almost 1.5 years. So
you're gonna make me cry, Ash.
That's something that that's something that haven't been seen yet in the crypto market before. So 2018, 2017, 2018 was a very rapid, a very aggressive movement. Started, I think, in May, and then unrolled up until late December in 2017, and started crashing, in 2018. And then 2021 market also started pretty rapidly, very aggressive movement right from the get-go, and very sharp drawdown after that. So this one is different. So we started the AI summer, so to say, in October with companies like BitTensor, Render, Ritual, all those folks, Akash, all the DePIN infrastructure started being very prominent at that point of time. So a company started getting crazy valuations, and I think at its peak, BitTensor was evaluated at like $6 billion in February, if I'm not mistaken, last year. And like if you look at BitTensor valuation right now, it hasn't yet. Oh, sorry, actually, describe that. So we got to the all-time high on BitTensor just recently. But well, the thing is, there was one rapid movement up, and then we've gone through a period of correction throughout the April, let's say, to October 2024. We started seeing another rapid growth on the AI side of things with AI agents, AI meme coins, and that sort of stuff. So where I'm where I'm heading with this is basically we started seeing a more gradual way up on this cycle, right? So it's not one
like
rapid
slower,
movement,
you mean less intense in
slower,
terms of like
less intensive, that takes a longer period of time to unroll. So that's at least what I see at the moment. And I think that aligns with the main asset in the Web3 ecosystem, which is Bitcoin, that started growing in October 2023 for this cycle, like rapidly growing after, all the ETFs and stuff started rapidly growing. And now we see that unrolling up until now. And, I think since then we've tripled in the price of Bitcoin. So that increase was followed by significant price actions of all the other assets in the ecosystem,
except
such
for
as
ETH.
AI. Well, I mean, ETH had its moment of it had its own moment when it got to like 4,000, but obviously, in the past couple of months, it hasn't been that great. So yeah, I would say that it's choppy. It's choppy. It's not going to be like another exciting movement up. And then, sharp decrease down. So I would expect that same kind of pattern to continue in 2024. But again, it's just like complete speculation, not investment advice. It's just what I see on the market and what I expect from the market
So you think in 20, sorry to interrupt you, but you think in 2025 it will continue growing like in the same way? So we won't see like a massive bull run like we saw in the previous two cycles, but we'll continue seeing like I don't know if it's like a multi-year bull run, but like bull run with less intensity and like with more like phases throughout. So like we have the AI now, then we might have something else, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a second AI phase. So the difference between this one and the previous one at the beginning of 2023 is that before we would talk about AI in general, this one is more around AI agents. So that's another feature, by the way, of this market, and something that we haven't had previously in any of the bull markets. So AI is not Web3 native technology, right? Mm-hmm. So it's something that came into our ecosystem. And I think the key reason is that why this is happening is because Web3 is becoming this innovation ecosystem. So all the new rapid technologies emerging anywhere else in the world, they will, in one sense or form, end up in the Web3 ecosystem, because it's a perfect environment for companies to raise capital. So that's what's happening with AI right now. And that's why a lot of AI projects are coming into the Web3 ecosystem, because the community that is created around Web3, the DGEM community, they're very open to new technologies. They're very excited about new technologies. They have a way of investing their money into these new companies, something that wasn't possible for regular consumers in the past without crypto. So I think with all those things happening, we will see more new and innovative technologies coming into the space and raising money. As echoing what you were saying, it will be more of like gradual motion, rather than those like violent spikes and drops. Yes.
Yeah. It's do you think that so I love that you touch on all these things. I actually didn't remember about that previous like AI wave you were mentioning like before. So the first one I remember of is like the one that started in October with all the agents and stuff. And do you think that like now that the market is down again, and with everything that's happened, like we saw a lot of like interesting things popping up in the AI agents world, a lot of like interesting frameworks and like interesting and new value propositions, but it quickly turned into this like a copycat arena where like everyone was launching like similar agents, right? And that started, I think, diluting the attention, and we started like maybe questioning ourselves, like, is there really utility under this? So what I'm going with this is like, do you think that now it's an opportunity to actually start launching the new phase of AI agents? And I would love for you to like tap into what you guys are building with Theoric there in terms of like building a new set of AI agents that actually have more utility other than just absorbing attention. Like, what's your take on that, and what's you think Theoric's with that? I know you guys launched your launchpad last week, so would love to to get to know your thoughts about that.
So first of all, I love how you called an opportunity to find utility. I don't think it's an opportunity. I think it's necessity for projects to start showing signs of utility. And I would even say it's PMF or die, right? It's either you find product market fit, or you don't. And I think it ties back to my comment about the innovation ecosystem. So obviously, there was a lot of excitement and hype around this new technology, the application of AI agents and whatnot. And a lot of projects started kind of actively participating in the narrative, right? Without having a material product that does something useful, so without like a utility. And that is very common for the Web3 ecosystem. So I think Bitcoin started like that, and a lot of other projects, they also started on a promise of something, and then eventually they were able to build towards something that was more useful. And that this is just the nature of this innovation ecosystem. So I think this is fine. I think more established products or more established projects, they start with at a place where there is already some sort of utility. And by saying more mature projects, I would definitely put Theoric into that cohort, and that's part of the reason why we don't have a token yet, because we believe that it is mandatory for a project to start providing utility first and not just be a meme token, right? That a lot of other projects are.
Why do you think that is important?
Well, I think that's just a natural way of developing the project. So I think it also ties back to the previous funding rounds, and it also ties back to our responsibility with the community. So I don't think it's fair to have a valuation of around A, or sometimes around B, or sometimes around C company without having a product market fit. Like, it is possible in this ecosystem, but whether it's fair to the community, that's questionable. And that's why a lot of people are getting rugged, because everyone sort of bats on the promise, and then a lot of times that promise just never materializes. So coming back to your question, yes, I do believe that right now we're in the phase of finding a product market fit for the technology, and a lot of projects are racing towards that. So trying to find different niches where AI agents as technology can be useful. So on that end, we at Theoric recently launched our AI agent starter kit, which is a tool for developers to launch their own agents. Yes. So now, if you're a developer, if you're looking to create a useful agent that would provide insights into the existing Web3 ecosystem, existing market, you can easily do that by using Alpha Swarm. So that just kind of jumpstarts your AI agent creation. And enables you with a bunch of built-in tools, so like data, swarms capabilities. So within a Alpha Swarm, we enable functionality where agents interact with agents. And so the reason why we think this is exciting, and not just exciting, but first of all useful, is because the future is in specialized agents. It's not going to be one agent doing everything. It's going to be a swarm of really specialized niche agents talking to each other, exchanging data, exchanging value, and really helping you as a user with whatever request you have. So you get that out of the box. And this is a fully open source tool. You can, go on our GitHub and type in Alpha Swarm. You'll find it there. We also encourage you to join our Discord community because obviously we want to hear, your feedback about the tool. What are the other features that you would want to see? So we definitely encourage that. And so the key reason why we're doing this is we believe that there is still a lot of fire, a lot of opportunity for the developers, for the builders in the ecosystem. We see still a lot of traction in, other smaller projects or individual developer teams who are looking to build and who are looking to apply their skills in either Web3 or AI or combined to build very useful products. And we want to enable them to do this by launching tools, by also launching bounties, because, we just announced today that we're sponsoring ETH Denver Hackathon, as well as 2 other hackathons during ETH Denver week. So we're offering a little north of like $20,000 bounties for all those hackathons. So
can people apply online, or is it just like in real life? You need to be in Denver to participate.
Well, I think even if the main hackathon is not available for people online, I'm pretty sure you can participate in 2 other hackathons, and feel free to just tune in to our socials to get more info on that. You can definitely participate. So yeah, so that's the tool that we're enabling the community with, the bounties and the opportunities. And also we offer an ongoing support for teams of developers because we're a part of a hyper accelerator program, and we're happy to make the introductions, really put you in front of the right people, investors and whatnot, and really help the community who are looking to build on top of our technologies to build interesting, useful products.
Cool. And I want to double down on something. So you describe Theoric's framework as it enables you to create swarms of agents. So a set of agents that collaborate between themselves that are specialized, and in that way they can help users with different tasks. And you're saying this, you think this is the future of AI agents. I agree with that. But I think you didn't tap into these swarms of agents in the case of Theoric. Are they specifically oriented towards the DeFAI, so DeFi by AI, a vertical, or is it not that specific? If it is, I think it would be great for you to tell us a little bit about that, because it's the promise of when we saw the Truth Terminal and all of these amazing agents popping up. The promise was, and that's how you and I met. I think I was asking you, are these guys actually performing transactions themselves, or is it just a dev, right? And you told me no, it's just a dev. So the power of having agents actually execute on transactions, owning private keys, all this stuff, I think can be incredibly powerful, and it's a match made in heaven, right? So you guys are working in that vertical specifically, right? Tell me a bit about that, and what are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, exactly. So and thank you for clarification. Yeah, so the Alpha Swarm is specifically tailored to the trading use cases in Web3, and it allows developers to jumpstart or trading agent. And all the data sources are basically there to kind of facilitate that specifically. So yes, that's kind of the direction that we've taken. And the reason why this is taking place, again, ties back to the nature of the Web3 space. So again, ties back to this innovation ecosystem, right? Because the technology creates a lot of disruption. and people start seeing the potential of this new technology, and that's what's been taking place. And then it takes a lot of time and resources and knowledge and network to be able to kind of filter out good from the bad, right? So you want to know exactly which projects are tire kickers and which projects are actually going to be delivering real value, which projects are going to like stick around and continue building even through, bull or the bear. Those are like main questions, right? And the reason why you want to like figure that out is simple, because you want to invest your money in, and that's why a lot of people are coming in to this innovation ecosystem. And that's what makes it an innovation ecosystem, because a lot of people are willing to risk their own money to put them on a project that has a really good potential of building a useful product, and they need a tool that would help them to figure out which project that is out of all the projects out there. And trust me, there's a lot of noise. Like, I'm pretty sure you've seen that yourself. And that's exactly where, the DeFi narrative is coming in. So DeFAI, or we prefer to say AI-Fi, because it's a little more broad than just DeFAI use case. And I can talk about that.
So like going like beyond DeFi, so finance in general,
that's
why?
Yeah, exactly. So the way I would kind of think about it is this. So in order to facilitate, the price discovery for this innovation ecosystem, which is the Web3 space, we've got DeFi in 2021, right? So the DEXs, the liquidity pools, everything was created in order to facilitate this innovation ecosystem. So it was all great. It was all cool, except for it was like very cumbersome, hard to use, took a lot of time to figure out how that works. Impermanent loss would, eat huge chunks of your liquidity and so on and so forth.
Lots of rug pulls too, right? And scams. Like since we are like, want to just, throw that out, because like, it seems like now the world is over and it's crime season, but we've seen a bunch of crime seasons before, right? So
exactly.
So these kind of agents could like help users surf through that noise too, through those dangers.
Yeah, so that's kind of the idea for DeFi, which takes what we've built for DeFi, for decentralized finance, adds AI to it as sort of like a UI tool, user interface or user experience, and simplifies the transactions of DeFi for the end user. But that's a very like limited use case. And that's why we're talking more about the AI-Fi. And so AI-Fi is somewhat further into the future, because that's the reality where agents, autonomous agents, trade between themselves, right? And are capable of making smart decisions on behalf of the user, right? So that's kind of the future that we're going towards, and that's the future that we're excited to build towards. And that's why we're building those tools for other ecosystem members to join us and to build that future together. So yeah, basically that's kind of the difference between DeFi and AI-Fi, and that's why we're taking this AI-Fi route as a company.
Got you. And well, like you were mentioning, like what this like agents could do. While you were mentioning them, I was thinking like Banker. Banker, it's a bot. You can like type on Warpcast, I think on Twitter too, like, hey, buy me this token. There's BonkBot on Telegram, which is pretty famous. I wouldn't consider it an agent, but it's also a bot that can perform transactions for you. So I think that's like just like the initial phase of what this like kind of agents could do, right? So like, what are some like more interesting use cases that could be built on top of Theoric that are not just like, hey, buy me this token, that you are seeing, or that you would be excited for developers to build on top of you? Like, what are some of those use cases and how like Theoric could enable them?
Well, I think it ties back to really like simple things, and the simple things are the hardest. So thinking about utility from the financial side of things, there are words like strategy, like what's your financial strategy? on this and that market? What are the what are the filters that you apply to make the decision about the trades, right? So what are the events that you want to be able to track in order to make smarter decisions? So those are things that we want to facilitate. So we want a user to be able to tweak their own strategy in a very straightforward way. So instead of like having a dashboard with a bunch of tools, so it's all like chat interface, where you can say like, okay, I want to be tracking, projects 5 to 10 million market cap, or does it even make sense to track that? So those kind of questions, like simple things, but at the same time, the key challenge is, really delivering on those simple things. So the ability to set up the alerts. So let's say how many people that were able to jump into the Trump token.
And most world leads.
I'm not saying that agents should be all designed to jump into projects like that. I'm not. I'm just using that as an example because it's a very clear example of what has taken place. The whole space just started buzzing about this Trump token, and the price action was very rapid and very very brutal in a matter of hours. But still, it has taken hours. So how do you make sure that an agent can capture that market momentum and make an educated decision about whether that agent wants to participate in this market motion or not? So that's another thing, right? So that comes back to those alerts. So yeah, and then on the infrastructure side of things, I think it's also important to enable user with autonomous trading, because as simple as it seems, it's not such a straightforward part of the journey, because it ties back to handling the private keys and making sure that this is still compliant with the Web3 standards, private and anonymous and whatnot. So there is still a bunch of infrastructural things that need to have need to take place on the back end, and that's what we're facilitating. So I hope I answered your question about what are the use cases. So you used the word exciting. So I think exciting is the final experience, but the final experience is consisting of of small things that are fine-tuned in a very elaborate way. Let's put it that way.
I love that. And it's Theoric is on Solana, right? Just to make sure.
So right now you can
Base. Okay, cool. It's on Base. So it's one of the Base AI projects. I really like that. I was thinking you were telling me so we were speaking about go-to-market strategy. You were mentioning how a lot of the innovation in the world is using crypto as a launchpad, because they can tap into liquidity, they can tap into degens. So not only get funding, but I think also have a clear user testing platform right away, because if there's an economic stake, users tend to be more active in these products. So you guys are thinking not to launch a token for now because you prefer building value, right? So maybe, and let me know your thoughts, of course, but maybe there's a little trade-off of you guys don't have a token, so there's a different way in which you guys need to tap into the market. So how are you thinking about that go-to-market strategy? Is it basically going to developers that are interested in the AI, DeFAI space, and or how are you thinking about that?
So I think I'm very old school in that sense. There is a classical go-to-market approach, which essentially says that if you don't have a product market fit, it's counterproductive to spend resources on growth. Because at the end of the day, you might be spending on something that doesn't bring a lot of value. And we've seen that happening in traditional businesses a lot of times. So I think that's the reason why we're taking the route that we're taking right now, because yeah, definitely. Right now the space is full of companies at different stages with very different positioning and strategies. But at the same time, we're kind of staying true to ourselves, because we were, since the beginning, betting heavily on the technology side of things, because that's where we're really proficient and where we have probably one of the strongest teams out there. So out of like 20 people on the team right now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, like 20 of them are hardcore developers, and
most of them basically.
Yeah. Most of them have very, very in-depth experience and expertise in AI space specifically, and that's why we're we're focusing on swarms, because I think we're one of the most capable teams to deliver a useful project that would use cross-agent coordination and interoperability. So that's our key differentiator, and that's been our key differentiator since the very beginning. So we started building that even before the market picked up on this AI agent narrative. We've launched our white paper in June last year, and it was already talking about interoperability. So the fancy word we all use right now is swarms, but we just used a different one in our white paper. So I think that's our core expertise, and that's our key differentiator. And right now, what's happening is we're building in public, right? Providing value to the community in the form of our code, and we're getting a lot of feedback. And the feedback is what we want from the community, to make sure that whatever we're building is actually useful and adds value to the ecosystem. So yeah, that's kind of the core focus right now. I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah. So we have about like 10 minutes left. So I want to move over a little bit about like what you guys are working on, and like zoom out a little bit and ask you, like, what do you think are some of these? So we talked about a lot about the intersection of AI by crypto, by DeFi, or by finance. So what do you think are other applications with real utility that we will see emerging from the intersection of AI and crypto, like the next few months,
Well, it's
besides
hard.
DeFi or finance?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's hard to say in terms of month, because it's a very short period of time. I think the DeFAI is going to be the major driver in the ecosystem. What we've also seen is DeFi projects coming into the space, and some utility around processing and extracting insights from like scientific papers, because large language models are really good at processing unstructured data, and scientific research papers are although for us humans it's sort of very structured data, but at the same time you need LLMs in order to be able to understand what's in those scientific papers, to be able to analyze them at scale. But I guess that's more of like speculation on my end, because we're just like so deep into trenches with what we are doing right now and focusing on our use case. Those are just kind of things that I kind of hear from the other sides of the ecosystem. I know some folks are working towards applying AI agents in gaming, and I'm a big proponent of that. Unfortunately, I don't have time anymore to play computer games, but in the past, I was an avid gamer myself and played a lot of strategies, and I would definitely appreciate AI in those strategies being more elaborate and interesting in their choices. So I can totally see large language models bridging that gap. So that's another use case. I would say that's what I'm currently seeing. maybe I'm missing something, but those are the major things that I'm seeing right now.
DeFi and gaming.
Yeah.
Love that. Yeah, I really like that. Been seeing a few of those things myself as well. So, well, we're getting near towards the end. So I will invite you to join me to hop in the Nova Express. So if you have your shades with you, I'll ask you to put your shades on you, because
All right.
now we're gonna start traveling in the Nova Express. Nova Express allows us to travel through time and space, so we can be in whatever time of history that we want. But what we're interested right here is in the future. So Ash, we're traveling right now. You can see everything from above. You can tap into any like dimension, timeline that you want. So tell me, Ash, what is the most extreme future that you can see?
So I think on my end, I can definitely see a lot of complexity that we face right now in the world. Even if you compare our lives to lives of our parents, of lives of anyone who lived like 100 years ago, they're really complex, and we have to make a lot of decisions throughout the day to make our life optimal. The true future for me is when a lot of that complexity is just going to be abstracted, like completely abstracted and delegated to smart agents who would take the huge chunk of our life choices and allow us to really just, enjoy our lives to its fullest without making 90% of all those choices that we have to make on a daily basis. And to that end, we have a limited capacity of making choices throughout the day because it's regulated by one of the chemicals in our brain. So essentially, the fatigue that you experience at the end of the day, without any like physical exercise, but doing some work, is because of you've exhausted that capacity of your brain to make smart choices. So I think the future is in intelligent systems allowing us to really focus that resource on the most crucial and the most high value choices in life, and everything else just kind of outsource to AI.
Bright future ahead. Cool. So we can take our shades off. Thanks, Sash, for sharing a positive view of the future. I love that. I needed that. So thank you. So we have just like 3-4 minutes. So tell me, like you mentioned to me that you guys are gonna be spending some time at ETH Denver. You guys are gonna be like sponsoring a few hackathons. Like anything you'd like to add in that regard? Where can people follow you and participate, or whatever else you want to add in that direction?
Yeah, so obviously catch us at ETH Denver. So we'll have a quite significant presence during the Build Hackathon and the main event. So we're going to have the booth at ETH Denver. We're going to have the team on the ground as part of the Build Hackathon. We're going to be offering bounties, as I mentioned. So for the Build Hackathon, it's $15,000 bounties across 3 tracks. So feel free to participate in that. Check out our website, join our Discord channel. We recently launched the new developers Discord channel where we're kind of focusing on, the developers discussions. Our general community channel is still out there for all the discussions outside of the development. So join that as well. And stay tuned for other exciting things because, as I mentioned, we're developing now in public, and there are going to be a lot of exciting new things coming from our end in the nearest future.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. This is the end. I want to thank you so much for being a guest at the Nova Express, and I hope you have a wonderful trip to Denver. And thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Sebas.